So let us begin the session. Let us ingather our consciousness. So many things are always pulling us in so many different directions. So just taking a few breaths, if we can, in the present moment, staying with the breath all the way in and all the way out. Thank you. So we can begin.
Namaskar, ma'am.
Namaste. So, as we know that we are doing the book study, a book study on the book Looking from Within. And we had finished the introduction last time, which is great. So now we can delve into the book. So the first chapter was Looking at Life and Circumstances. So that's the name of the main chapter, and it had a lot of content. So the first content is power of attitude. So if we remember, even in the introduction, they had talked about, the attitude, that what is an attitude. And again, at the beginning, they'll be elaborating on the power of attitude. So it's one big paragraph. So if anybody is willing, they can unmute and read.
I'll read it. Okay. Looking at life and circumstances, power of attitude. Is it really the best that always happens? It is clear that all that has happened had to happen. It could not be otherwise. By the universal determinism, it had to happen. But we can say so only after it has happened, not before. For the problem of the very best that can happen is an individual problem, whether the individual be a nation or a single human being. And all depends upon the personal attitude. If, in the presence of circumstances that are about to take place, you can take the highest attitude possible, that is, if you put your consciousness in contact with the higher consciousness within reach, you can be absolutely sure that in that case, it is the best that can happen to you. But as soon as you fall from this consciousness,
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
um,
There's some problem with this
it's okay, no
document.
problem.
Just give me, it's just
No
giving
worries.
ratings. So, we can just take a pause here actually, and before
Yes.
it decides to allow us to move it. So, what is it saying here? Yeah, so okay, it did move. So So what it's saying here, it's first, starting with the question that is it really the best that always happens? Our egos would never agree. And yet, if you look at it, lot of times after years and years have passed, we often agree that probably that thing was for the best. But while things are happening, they don't appear to be happening for the best. Lot of times there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of, unmet expectations, lot of grievances. So we might not believe that, but what is it saying? It is saying that it is clear that all that has happened had to happen. It could not be otherwise. By the universal determinism, it had to happen. I remember just that I find it beautiful, but I don't know how much I believe in it. But in Christianity, there's this thing that, where you are standing right now, they say that, God had drawn a circle there. And that's exactly where you're standing, where He had drawn the circle for you. So I'm paraphrasing, that's not the exact way, but that's what, at least what I understood. So for the problem of the very best that can happen is an individual problem, whether the individual be a nation or a single human being. And all depends upon the personal attitude. Basically, what it's saying that all problems are basically one to one, right? Like it's happening to one person or it's happening to one nation. And all that happens because of the problem, how we take it and stuff depends on the personal attitude, whether it turns out best for us or not. So, if in the presence of circumstances that are about to take place, you can take the highest attitude possible. That is, if you put your consciousness in contact with the highest consciousness within reach, right? Like we might not even know what is the possibility. So that's why the word that within reach, if you can, reach the highest consciousness, that is, if you put your consciousness in contact with the highest consciousness within reach, you can be absolutely sure that in that case, it is the best that can happen to you. So I think it would be further elaborated what it means because right now it's looking a bit here and there. So any questions, anything?
Yeah, Taru. So sometimes when we read this or similar things, doesn't it feel like that if something that is had to happen will happen and everything is already pre-decided and like you said that the circle is already drawn where we are. That means it's so much fixed where what has to happen will happen. Then why are we doing what we are doing and trying to achieve something or become become something. So then this question kind of hits us, like let's say somebody has died, somebody is unwell, and we try our best to make that person fine. We sometimes even sell off our assets for the hospitalization bills and things like this. So if something has to happen, won't it be better that we just sit and pray to God that please we surrender, it's your will, you please take care, I am no one, so I will just sit and pray. But we run around, we do whatever we can, we go mad in a way, trying to do things to make to improve things. So it's a little confusing.
Now, what's coming to me is that I do those things because I believe that in doing those things, I will be able to make a difference. And I say, in that case, I might be able to save that person, right? I do
Mm.
believe, like right now, say, if there was somebody who you knew, who, somebody close to you who was, say, not well. And if I tell you that, Ritu, this is absolutely bekar ki baat, you just leave everything to the God. You sit, you pray, you have faith that the best would happen. Would you believe me? Would you be able to do that? Right? So it's not that maybe it is the best, but is it my capacity, or do I have that much faith or certitude that I can just do nothing about it? I don't know whether, I'm not saying whether doing nothing about it is right, but I'm saying that when it is not even my possibility, why would I even, go there? Because right now I know that I have to run. What I can do is simultaneously I can offer that I, take me where it would help, may the best happen. So what they are saying right now, which I kind of mixed it with that Christianity thing, is having that faith that the best will happen if my attitude is right. That even if I am doing 200 things to save that person, having that certitude that, जो होना है वो होना ही है. I'm just an instrument. I'm doing everything I can, but nothing really is in my hand, which we know. And yet, of course, lot of times we do things with a lot of doership. And also, I think probably it's an indication for that. And, when you were sharing that Amitabh Bachchan ka, that, that very famous dialogue in which I think his mom or dad were not well and he did a lot. And then एक dialogue है ना कि मैंने ये भी कर लिया, ये भी कर लिया, ये भी कर लिया और अब मैं तेरे पास आया हूँ. He went to that temple कि अब मैं अपना सर झुकाता हूँ. Do you know that dialogue thingy? I'll try. तो उस केस में ये है कि सर सबसे पहले क्यों नहीं झुका सकते हम, है ना? मतलब सब कुछ करने के बाद जब दिख रहा है कि कुछ नहीं बच कर सकते, और तभी मोस्टली कहते हैं क्योंकि नाउ व्हेन आई एम नॉट एबल टू डू इट ऑन माय ओन, नाउ लेट मी गो एंड सीक हेल्प, लेट मी प्रे, लेट मी डू further things. But how about doing that as the first step even before we take an action?
So,
Yeah.
same thing will happen for, will can be applied like, if we have to progress on the spiritual journey, we will automatically, I mean, if it is pre-decided, let's say today I'm born and I'm at point A, I have to reach point Z. So during this birth, I will reach from point A to point B, no matter what I do. I have to. I mean, it's pre-decided at the time of my birth only that I will reach point B. I cannot reach point C because the circle is at point B and I will stay at point B only, even if I try my best. But but we still try, keep trying.
Yeah, Ritu,
And
I know that that's, firstly, I think one thing if we understand, which is a bit difficult to actually believe, but this, वैसे अब what the reasoning that you just gave, right, was absolutely a phenomenal reasoning coming from intellect, right? That A is equal to B, that means B is equal to C, so the A is equal to C, right? Like if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, that means A is equal to C. इसमें कोई doubt नहीं है ना? But ये जो चीजें हैं, the thing that we are talking about, like not चीजें, mind is also a tool, right? Like we say, I am not the body, I have a body. I'm not the mind, I have a mind. And mind is limited. The more you'll delve into it, you will see that again and again, again and again, again and again, it hits you that logic is not the only thing, right? There are things which I cannot grasp, which are beyond me. I don't know what just came to me. And especially, when we are talking about higher consciousness, they clearly say that, how we talk, say, in especially Shri Aurobindo, they talk about, supramental, like this is mental, then above mental, super conscient stuff. So they have described, and, you have attended some sessions with Dr. Basu, right? Dr. Basu, who's a psychiatrist in Pondicherry, so he very beautifully talks about that, this mind that we have right now, an ordinary human mind, it just goes on tark with tark, right? If this is right, that has to be wrong, right? It cannot be that this too is right and the wrong is also right. But he had beautifully described, according to Sri Aurobindo, that how as we graduate, as the mind goes bigger and bigger and expands, not bigger and bigger, but expands in consciousness, how we first are fighting. Then we say, okay, we agree to disagree, but we can be in total harmony with disagreement. Then comes a point that you see that this too is true and this too is true. So you respect both. And then comes a point when you can absolutely see the contradictory things and merging into one. You can, it's like the big picture, big picture, big picture, big picture, big eye view. So it's very beautiful, but my mind does not believe that, because how can I be limited, right? And yet, when we look at other people most of the time, we can see that they cannot see. It's so simple, right? सबकी जिंदगियां हमें पूरी तरह समझ आ जाती है कि अरे इसकी लाइफ में ये प्रॉब्लम है, अरे इसको छोड़ दे तो ये बेटर हो जाएगा, right? But खुद को नहीं दिखता है, right? For us, smallest things that we have to transcend, which sound logically very simple, right? Okay, something happened to me in the childhood. I was a child, the other person was a child, whatever लड़ाइयाँ हुई, ये हुआ, वो हुआ. And now I move on. It's very simple. And yet, when I look at my life, these small, small happenings, किसी ने डांट दिया, somebody was not good to me, right? They're hard, right? There's something beyond the mind which sticks to those things. तो उसमें भी एक मेंटल वो दिखता है ना, लिमिटेशन के खाली माइंड नहीं है. So knowing के most of the things that I am deciding, obviously, because मेरे पास अभी highest mind है, तो मैं mind से देख रहा हूँ. But Acharya Prashant had explained this once really beautifully. I'll try to explain it. I know I've tried before, but I don't know how successful I was. He had somebody had asked a similar question. So he said, imagine there is this building with 100 floors. And the person who had asked this question, her name was Ria. It's been years and I cannot forget that name. So Ria had asked this question. So Acharya said that, say, Ria for Ria, this is the climb, right? Right now she's on the ground floor and she knows she has to climb on the 100th floor, right? But he said that where Ria has to reach is not on the apartment, any floor. It's not 100th floor is not her destination, but as a human being, this is what she can see right now, right? She can see the levels. And so there is one Ria of the floors and there is one Ria of the skies. So basically what all we do is we go here and there. When we say choose the highest, we are basically saying get on a higher floor, choose simplicity, go for your peace. You're more than nature. Don't let nature just limit you. So those are all the movements I am doing within my realms of possibilities as a human. And as I am more aware, more mindful, more grace flows, I can be more light, right? तो जो मेरा काम है, इसमें he used the word पात्रता. The more effort I make, it shows how much I want it, which I would say in mother's thing, it's the aspiration, right? कि मुझे चाहिए, and then trying to put it in life, right? It cannot be mere words, it has to come in life. तो वो ये मैं इसमें मूव कर रहा हूँ इन फ्लोर्स पे. And he said कि जो चेंज आता है, जो शिफ्ट होता है, जो उठाना है, वो यहां से आता है. So this, even if you're on the 100th floor, you cannot reach this unless something from above comes and pulls you. And by what you are doing here, it shows that, okay, you so badly want to come and you're making every effort that is in your capacity, that the force has no option but to come and pull you up. तो ये 100 मंजिलें समझ लो सबके पास हैं. As a human being, this is my capacity. But how high I can climb and how badly I want it determines where I'll end up.
But here, how high I will climb is already pre-decided.
No, up to you. Just let's reread. Tell me where it says, right? What
No, no,
I
you know,
shared
the
was a
circle thing.
different thing. You know, the circle thing I said, I had read something in the Christianity, like there was this quote from the Christ. तो उसमें basically उसका crux ये था कि अब जहां पे हो वहां पे आना ही था तुम्हारा निश्चित, अब कहाँ जाना है देखो. Because lot of times we sit and we brood, right? We become either we go into victimhood or guilt consciousness. अरे मैंने ये कर दिया, अरे किसी ने वो कर दिया. So you know how again I've heard it from AP only, you know, Acharya Prashant, he says that 100% of the things, the narrations, the stories, the examples that I give you are baseless and false. But because I want you to hear what I want you to hear, I give you so many things so that you will hear me out. So I have to make things attractive, make things वो कि तुम सुनो तो सही. कि अगर मुझे तुम्हें एक चीज सुनानी है उसके पहले मुझे तुम्हें 20 किस्से सुनाने पड़ते हैं कि तुम वो चीज सुनो जो मैं तुम्हें बताना चाहता हूँ. राइट, विच इज ट्रू फॉर अस ना. सीधा कोई ओम ब्रह्मास्मि यू नो वो सब शुरू कर दे, हम बोल रहे हैं क्या कह रहे हैं यार, चलो चलो साइड से उतरो. राइट. तो उस हिसाब से दीज थिंग्स दैट वी आर seeing are just to show us के okay, let's move on, let's see. Okay, I had to be here, now let's see where I can go, let me choose the highest. तो ये अपने में I agree with what you are saying कि logically it seems that it should be this, but because I am above logic, I am above the mind, I am more than nature, है ना. I am more the consciousness, the conscious energy. Nature dominates it. But you know, the Atman is not nature. It is not ruled by nature. But because हम शरीर बन के रह जाते हैं, हमें लगता है कि अरे नेचुरल ही तो है. बट सारे उपनिषद जोर जोर से यही तो बोल रहे हैं कि अरे भैया जागो, तुम शरीर नहीं हो खाली, है ना. तो आई कैन नॉट गिव दिस एक्सक्यूज के बट इट्स नेचुरल. यस, दैट इज नेचुरल. But I am more than. तो ये बिल्कुल आई एम सो हैप्पी कि you have bought these things, you know, you got these things अभी at the beginning of the first session, because ये चीजें अगर शुरू में ही थोड़ा सा हम मानना शुरू हो जाए ना, तो then our grasping becomes very easy. अदरवाइज वो ईगो ही लड़ती रहती है कि अरे ये तो सेंस ही नहीं बन रही. और वो शुरू में ही अगर हम बात करते हैं कि ये सेंस के ऊपर की बात है, थोड़ा किसी बस जस्ट सी इट, जस्ट हेयर इट आउट, और सडनली समथिंग क्लिक्स एंड इट ओपन्स. बिकॉज ये मेंटल के चक्कर में ना मैं अपनी कोई लिमिट करता रहता हूँ. बट मैं आई डोंट अग्री, ये तो तर्क ठीक नहीं है, ये तो वो वितर्क है. बट दिस इज बियॉन्ड तर्क वितर्क. यू नो, जब वो सब हो गया उसके बाद अब रेडी है कि अब आगे चलें, तो उसमें ये आता है कि यू नो वी आर, आई एम बियॉन्ड द माइंड इज इनकेपेबल. लाइफ डिवाइन जो है, और इवन इन most of the ancient texts, they very clearly say that you cannot know God. Life Divine starts with that. Life Divine is considered to be the highest book written by Sri Aurobindo. और वो जो एक प्रिजन लाइफ की बुक है, आई थिंक आई हैड शेयर्ड विद यू, आई डोंट नो वेदर यू हैड रेड इट और आई हैड टेकन बैक. तो उसमें जो क्या कहते हैं उनको, जो वकील, the lawyer who fought for Sri Aurobindo when he was in the prison, you know, now in that courtroom, there's a placard, you know, very big marble carving kind, which says that here was the trial of Sri Aurobindo, the prophet of life divine. So this is he who said it, I don't know, 200 years back, maybe. Unbelievable. But you know, that is the strength of that book. तो उसके में शुरू में this is there that you can never get it, but you can become it. अब ये अपने में बहुत लॉजिकल बात नहीं है ना, कि हाउ कैन आई बिकम something or anything which I cannot understand, right? And yet it is written. बिकॉज इट्स बियॉन्ड मेंटल, इट्स बियॉन्ड द माइंड, माइंड से ऊपर की चीज है। तो जब अगर मैं किसी भी स्तर पे इस बात को एक बार मान लूं कि मेरे दिमाग से ऊपर की चीज है, फिर ये बहुत सारी अदर सिचुएशंस में भी ना अप्लाई होने लग पड़ता है। देन आई स्टॉप बिलीविंग माई सेल्फ 100%. Somebody says something to me and I want to lash out. But when I know कि so many times I've lashed out, although my mind right now is saying कि बताता हूँ मैं इसको, है ना, कैसे बोल देता है हमेशा. But now if I know कि I don't have to trust this, इसने मुझे बहुत बार गिराया है, right? तो फिर उसमें एक ठहराव आ जाता है. You pause and a lot of times you're able to catch yourself. So please, I don't know, मैं तो non-stop I'm going. I don't know if it's making any kind of sense, and I'm saying it's not a sense thing, but are we getting what they are trying to say a little bit? Even a little bit is enough. Not understanding is great. We'll get the understanding. Dheere dheere. The dawning happens, not really understanding. Because जब भी हम बोलते हैं अंडरस्टैंड, फिर भी वो हम उसको लिमिट कर देते हैं, है ना, बिकॉज मैं लिमिटेड हूँ. मैं किसी भी चीज को लिमिट में ही समझ सकता हूँ, राइट? अगर मैं आपको बोलूं ये चीज असीम है, ये भी सच है, वो भी सच है, ये भी सच है, वो भी सच है, आप बोलोगे कि ओ माय गॉड, चक्कर खा के वी आर रेडी टू फेंट. बिकॉज द domain that I'm using, the tool that I'm using to understand it, it's beyond the understanding of the tool. That's it. जैसे कि मैं एक इंची टेप से, स्मॉल इंची टेप से, या फिर मे बी एक स्केल से, राइट, 12 इंच के स्केल से आई कैन मेजर अ बॉक्स, आई कैन मेजर अ डोर, right? I can measure a person maybe if I put a lot of time. But if I tell you, okay, measure the whole of river Ganges from the Himalayas to where it goes, like the Bay of Bengal finally, where it merges with the ocean, would you say it's a possibility? नहीं ना, वो
Yeah.
पॉसिबल ही नहीं है. तो यही चक्कर है कि मेरा दिमाग सीरियसली एक 6 फुट का फट्टा है, और उससे मुझे गैंजेस मेजर करनी है, वो मेरे लिए पॉसिबल नहीं. बट इसका ये मतलब नहीं है मैं इसको यूज नहीं करूंगा, है ना. अगर बॉक्स मेजर कर सकता हूँ तो वो करूंगा, गेट कर सकता हूँ तो वो करूंगा, उसको कर करके उसमें पावर आती रहेगी और वो लंबा होता रहेगा. इट्स अ फ्लेक्सिबल रूलर. So I think, yeah, that's a good way of seeing it. It expands with my expansion. Jagan, yeah, you're done.
Ma'am, in this conversation, there was so अगर एक सिचुएशन हो मेरे सामने एंड मुझे नहीं पता how I'm going to face it, right? So, and there is, let's say, there is a higher force. So, अगर मैं अपने आप से बोलूं कि I'm panicking right now in the situation, I don't know how to face it, so I leave it to the higher force to deal with. So, let's say the higher force has a mind. I'm just assuming. Wouldn't the higher force think that he's not even putting his effort, he's just leaving it to me? Or will it just think that, okay, he's right the way he is, and it is I that needs to take care of it?
Yeah, Jagan, there's Osho. You've heard of Osho, right? So Osho says, no, he's a very, very, very famous old mystic who's very popular in India. I'm surprised you haven't heard of him, but yeah. So he had said कि हम लोगों की जो capacity है वो limited है. जैसे कि if I am talking about a Hindu god, for me a Hindu god, a god would be Hindu. For a Chinese, if we ask him to draw a god, it would be a Chinese god. For a crow, the god would look like a crow. So first of all, we are assuming in the example that you're giving, because I work from the mind, right? ये ठीक है, ये गलत है, सबकी responsibility होती है, अपनी तरफ duty होती है. So my thinking shows that I'm thinking that the one who has to take care also is limited by these narrow mind and duties and responsibilities, right? ऐसा तो नहीं होगा. It is higher, it's freer. Secondly, it's one consciousness it says, right? कि जो मेरे अंदर है वो पूरे कॉस्मॉस में है, बट मैं बिकॉज एक बॉडी में हूं, आई से ये मैं हूं और वो अलग है, बट जो एक फोर्स है, इट नोज वी आर ऑल वन, राइट? आज ही आई थिंक ग्रुप में कोई मैसेज शेयर हुआ है, आई डोंट नो वेयर यू नो इट्स द मदर हु हैज wanting to experience so many things, like they say about divine, right? That because divine wanted to experience, he created so many and now he's having so many experiences. तो एसेंस सेम है, तो वो अपना पराया तो वहां पे है ही नहीं. और थर्डली, जैसे आई स्पोक टू ऋतु, आई सेड कि मैं आपको बोल दूं छोड़ दो, आप छोड़ पाओगे नहीं अभी इस स्टेट में, जब तक वो फेथ पूरा ना हो, है ना? मतलब यू कैनॉट लीव इट, बिकॉज अभी अपने ऊपर बहुत विश्वास है ना, कि मैं करूंगा, मैं देखता हूँ, मुझे कैसे बोल दिया. तो अभी बहुत मैं हूं मेरे अंदर. तो जब तक वो है, तो अगर माई कप अगेन, इट अगेन एंड अगेन कप्स टू माई कप, दैट इफ आई एम ऑलरेडी फुल, माई कप इज ऑलरेडी फुल ऑफ मी, देन ग्रेस कैन नॉट फ्लो. और जो छोड़ सकता वो एक कबीर छोड़ सकता है, वो एक नानक छोड़ सकता है ना? बिकॉज उसको पता है कि मेरे बस का है नहीं. नानक छोड़ सकते हैं, सॉरी, दैट्स हाउ वी से इट. कबीर छोड़ सकते हैं, नानक छोड़ सकते हैं, बिकॉज उन्होंने छोड़ा ही हुआ है.
मैम मतलब on one side I'm able to like मतलब मुझे आंसर समझ में आ रहा है, लेकिन on the other side अभी अगर मैं सोचूं कि this is not a situation where मुझे लग रहा है कि मैं कर रहा हूँ. Let's say this is like let's say that मेरा कोई एग्जाम है और वो सब्जेक्ट भी मुझे पसंद है, मैं पढ़ाई कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन मतलब मैंने दो दिन पढ़ाई की, मेरे को नहीं आ रहा, मेरे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा. तो मैं बस ऐसे करूँ कि ये हायर फोर्स देख लो, तब तो मतलब मेरा एफर्ट तो नहीं दिखेगा ना मैम.
हाँ, तो हायर फोर्स देख लो, तो उसमें ये नहीं होता कि हायर फोर्स देख लो पास कर देना. तो उसमें ये होता है, हायर फोर्स डू व्हाट इज द बेस्ट फॉर मी. तो फिर उस केस में फेल होना प्रोबेबली विल बी द बेस्ट फॉर यू, कि अगर आप उसके लिए पढ़ना भी नहीं चाह रहे हो, अंदर से रिपल्शन आ रही है, राइट? तो उस केस में आंसर इज नॉट गिवन कि देख लो ये कर देना, वो तो डिजायर हो गया है ना, वो तो सरेंडर नहीं हुआ, वो तो ऑफरिंग नहीं हुई. तो फिर छोड़ा तो पूरा छोड़ा.
और थोड़ा और सुनूंगा, मे बी आई गेट टू अंडरस्टैंड द फुल मीनिंग.
हाँ, तो बेसिकली कि इफ आई एम सेइंग आई हैव फेथ, right? Usually when I say I have faith in you, I believe that I have faith in you that you will do A, B, C, D, E, right? You will be good, you will be honest, you will be decent. This will happen. But यहाँ पे जो है वो ये faith है कि I have faith कि only the best will happen, and because I am limited, I cannot see what is best for me, but you can see what is best for you, right? No, like you can see what is best for me because I am here and you are here. तो फिर ये फेथ में सरेंडर कि तुम ही कर रहे हो, तुम्हें ही पता है, तो जो भी करोगे तो अच्छा ही करोगे, और उसमें फिर मेरी कंडीशंस नहीं है. इट्स एन अनकंडीशनल सरेंडर, राइट? कंडीशनल सरेंडर तो हो ही नहीं सकता, वो तो एक ट्रेड हो गया, वो तो बिजनेस हो गया ना, कि मैं तुम्हें खून दो तो मुझे आजादी दो. तो वो नहीं है, इट्स नॉट अ बिजनेस, इट्स अ गोइंग डाउन, बिकॉज यू नो कि अब ये खड़ा रखने की औकात है ही नहीं.
थैंक यू.
Yeah, Sham, anything from you if you're not sleeping, that is.
Yeah, Morotaru, and your speech was very alluring and appealing. Okay, so I really liked it, and it gave me enough food for thought that we are all limited in our own little and big ways. We can try, we can stretch out, we can walk the extra mile, but then it's Almighty's will. And at the end of the day हम लोग सब वही बोलते हैं कि thy will be done, क्योंकि हम कुछ ज्यादा कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते हैं, ठीक है, क्योंकि कई बारी तो इतने मुश्किलात, इतने सवालात आ जाते हैं कि हम चाह के भी कुछ नहीं कर पाते हैं. And we are all, like you said, that we are all an instrument of Almighty. Then there I am on the same page as you. Certainly we are all an instrument of Almighty only, nothing beyond that.
But I keep forgetting, right? That's when I
Yeah. We keep forgetting, and your sessions keep reminding. Maybe that's why your sessions are so alluring, so appealing. और कई बारी तो हम लोग लिटरेचर के नशे में ये बोल सकते हैं कि आई कैन डू दिस, आई कैन डू दैट, बट नहीं, आई कांट डू एनीथिंग विदाउट ऑलमाइटीज विल. And even if it is done, we take the credit that, look, I have done, but nay, it ain't that way. I haven't done, Almighty have made me done. Ketan, the Lord is the shepherd of my soul.
Yeah, thank you for that reminder. It was a beautiful hymn.
Yeah, certainly Lord is the shepherd of my soul. Otherwise, who are we? We are nobodies.
We are no bodies, or we are just bodies. Both can be said. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think, like I said, if we have to go from point A and point B, it's definite that if point B is already circled, we'll go to point B. But I think it's the difference in attitude here would mean how we go from point A to point B. One is that we just sleep through the journey. One is that we have cataract and our eyes are with a cover, avran. Or the other is that we see while we are going from point A to point B with awareness that yes, I was at point A and I'm going to point B. So with that awareness. So I think the attitude here would mean that okay, I mean, it is certain that we will move on, but then if we are moving on with awareness or without awareness, with clarity or with a cover, so I think that is probably attitude.
Yeah, that's also a good point. It's like, और बहुत बार मैं रोते रोते जाता हूँ, right? Like I'm crying that it's paining, it's hurting. Why is God doing this to me? You know, your sharing reminded me, and I'm sorry, it's a very personal thing, but you know, when I was pregnant and my due date had arrived, so my mother-in-law, you know, she had said that according to her, you know, there are two kind of girls, like one of us, you know, one girl, you know, in labor who loses it, who at the slightest pain would start crying and shouting, oh my God, I can't handle and stuff. And there's someone who would be able to retain, right? Who would be able to say, okay, ये तो होना ही है, and they don't lose it, they don't start screaming and shouting. तो शी सेड कि डेस्टिनेशन तो सेम ही है, पेन भी उतना ही सहना पड़ेगा, कोई रोने चीखने से, शी सेड इट जस्ट इंक्रीजेस कि द मोमेंट यू जस्ट से कि आई एम अनएबल टू, यू विल एक्चुअली स्टॉप, कि उसका बर्दाश्त खत्म हो जाएगी, एंड देयर इज नथिंग यू कैन डू अबाउट इट, राइट? तो काइंड ऑफ इट रिमाइंडेड मी ऑफ दैट कि जब पता है कि पॉइंट ए से पॉइंट बी जाना है, right? Like I can go laughing, right? For example, you know, when Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, you know, they would be walking towards, you know, when they had to get hanged. One of the biggest things that struck the British, which they had reported, was that they were laughing, right? They themselves took the nook, put it in their throat, you know, gave each other a high five kind of a thing. And yes, I was never afraid of this, right? I knew what I was doing. I knew this could be where I am, और अब मैं यहाँ पे हूँ. The worst possible. 22-23 साल के थे ना शायद तीनों. They were this young. So imagine कि अभी जिंदगी शुरू नहीं हुई. And yet it's a celebration. तो मेरे को थोड़ा सा एक दांत में दर्द होता है, डेंटिस्ट के पास जाने में मैं रास्ते में 10 बार बोल देती हूँ कि आय हाय, बेटर ब्रश कर लेती, फ्लॉस कर लेती, बेटर दांत होते, टेढ़े मेढ़े ना होते. So, it's just that attitude कि how I'm going, like you said so nicely, from point A to B. I'm going like a surma of Kabir, or I'm going like, भाई रोता धोता कि क्या हो रहा है मेरे साथ में. Yeah, true, very good. I तो feel कि आज का सेशन हो गया है. Enough of reflection and beautiful contemplation. Yes, but yeah, we'll go for obviously a little bit
But
longer.
what Jagan asked, I used to ask myself that question many times. That okay, I'm surrendering, and see, still I failed. Say, since I surrendered, I should have been on the. But actually, also probably, for me, like I mean, it's not. I surrendered not with the condition that I mean.
So your screen is hanging for me. I don't know if it's hanging for.
I think
Yeah,
when I
it
switch
was
the
hanging
video,
for me.
when I switch on the video, the network, it
Yeah, but
becomes a
अभी तक
little
ठीक
bit.
आ रहा था. If you can just repeat the last thing I heard, कि Jagan's question you also used to ask, कि now that you've surrendered.
I should win. I mean, I surrendered. Such a big thing I did. At least I should be awarded with something that I
Yeah.
should top the class or whatever. But surrender doesn't mean that I have to win. Surrender would mean to take the thappads also happily, to accept them.
Yes.
And now you see, we were talking about the limitation of the mind, right? Let's talk about the Ritu, maybe 10 years back, who used to do that in school or college and who believed that now that she had surrendered, she should get the best, right? And now, today, the Ritu, if she's looking at that old Ritu, she would be smiling or laughing at her, कि, oh, how silly I was, right? कि I thought that was surrender. है ना? और यही ऐसे 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 कि when we keep looking back, we'll see that, oh, how silly, or how childish, or how sweet, right? That I could believe that to be true. सरेंडर का मतलब कि मुझे नहीं पता कि मेरे लिए क्या अच्छा है, बट तुम्हें पता है तो तुम करो. बट उसके साथ अगर मैं एक अच्छे बुरे की लिस्ट अटैच करी हूँ कि देखो बट ये अच्छा है, ये करना, देखो देखो वो मत करना, फिर तो वो पॉइंट डिफाई हो गया है ना. मतलब जैसे अब जैसे कि कृष्णा को जब अर्जुन ने अपना वो माना सारथी, राइट, देन कृष्णा could do anything, right? Krishna wasn't a सारथी, Krishna was a king. He had probably never taken the reins of a horse on his hand, right, in his hand. So in a way that is also a visualization of true surrender. कि वॉर में जा रहे हैं, कुछ भी हो सकता है, एंड सारथी की पोजीशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होती है, राइट? लाइक चैरियट जो चला रहा है, जिसपे आप बैठे हो, उसके ऊपर बहुत डिपेंड करता है कि वे कैसे उसको मैन्यूवर करें. बट अब तो वो चाहे किसी के सामने भी ले जाए, जिससे लड़ना है, जो करना है, वो डिसाइड कर रहा है, राइट? कृष्ण इज डिसाइडिंग हु अर्जुन हैज टू फाइट, वेयर ही हैज टू बी. अब कोई कंडीशंस नहीं है. अगर कंडीशन है तो वो तो एस ऑफ सरेंडर भी नहीं है ना. मतलब अब तो वो क्लियरली दिखता है, बट तब वो बिलीव था और वो कंप्लेन थी कि ऐसे कैसे. तो अपनी ही जब हम देखते हैं तो थोड़ा ज्यादा समझ आ जाता है, बिकॉज इट्स अ लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस. You're looking, it doesn't think, I don't think you're agreeing. It seems you are not.
Oh no, no. I'm just thinking, ma'am, that जब आप और जब रितु मैम शेयर करते हैं ना, मुझे लगता है कि देर इज एन एलिमेंट ऑफ सिंसेरिटी ऑल्सो इन दैट. क्योंकि अगर मैं वो जो पिछले एग्जाम्पल मैंने दिया था, जैसे कि मेरा एग्जाम है, मैंने पढ़ाई नहीं की, आई सरेंडर्ड विदाउट एक्सपेक्टिंग, so I failed in the exam, so I couldn't take that subject. Now I take a different subject again. I didn't put any effort. I tried once, I couldn't do it, failed again. 1 year gone. and happens and it repeats itself. So I'm just, while you were talking, I was just asking myself, कितना मतलब what level of sincerity should I have, and what level of patience should I have to be sincere and to surrender to an extent where it will just flow. I'm not doing anything. It will just flow with the, with, because like like you're explaining, when Krishna was directing Arjuna, I haven't read Mahabharata, but I don't know, maybe there were some steps where it may have crossed in Arjun's mind that maybe this could have been done a little differently, but yet he surrendered to Krishna, right? So I was just asking myself that कितना कितना मतलब लाइक कितना सिंसिरिटी और कितना पेशेंस चाहिए होगा कि पूरा का पूरा सरेंडर ही कर देने के लिए या
And Jagan, one more thing, the idea or the point is not to not do an action, but not do an action by becoming a doer. By, जैसे इसमें again in, Krishna speaks about निष्काम कर्म. तो एज इन कि मेरे को फ्रूट से अटैचमेंट नहीं है कि अर्जुन इज फाइटिंग बिकॉज ही इज फाइटिंग फॉर द ट्रूथ एंड ही इज फाइटिंग बिकॉज ही कैन नॉट बियर द अनट्रूथ. अब आगे जो मर्जी हो, हु किल्स हु वी डोंट नो. Like we were giving an example of, say, Bhagat Singh, right? So he was fighting for freedom. He didn't know what if they'll get freedom or not. But living a life of a slave in my own country was not acceptable to him. So he knew he had to take an action, because not taking an action or living that life was not okay for him. फिर जो हो आगे जो हो, right? तो उस हिसाब से if I'm studying for an exam, I can study it with a lot of feverishness, right? ओ माय गॉड नहीं हुआ तो ओ माय गॉड ये क्या सोचेगा, वो क्या सोचेगा, इतनी परसेंटेज तो आनी चाहिए वरना सब लोग मुझे डफर सोचेंगे, अरे मेरे पापा का नाक कट जाएगा, है ना. 2000 थिंग्स आई कैन थिंक ऑफ. एंड alternatively this can be कि okay, I want to do this is the best I can do and sincerely I'm doing it. Now if I get 30%, 40%, 100%, that I have left, वो तो अब जो मिलेगा मिलेगा, बट मैं अपनी तरफ से जितना कर सकता हूँ वो मैं कर रहा हूँ. जैसे कि अर्जुन तू कर्म कर, राइट, तू लड़, बाकी जो होगा वो तेरे उसका नहीं है, वो मैं देख रहा हूं ना. तो ये बहुत बड़ी मिसकंसेप्शन है कि एक्शन नहीं करना है. एक्शन तो करना है, अब इस बॉडी में है तो अपनी तरफ से हाईएस्ट चूज करना है. इसमें भी आया था जो हमने पढ़ा था ना कि हाईएस्ट दैट इज अवेलेबल टू मी, वो चूज करना है. एंड whatever is meant to happen, knowing that the best would happen, कि चाहे मैंने 2 साल पढ़ाई करी हो उसके बाद भी if I fail, knowing कि this must have something good in that. There's this very famous story, I think we've all heard it so many times, कि there was ये farmer जिसके घर में शायद कोई प्रिंस आ गया, तो ही डिडंट रिपोर्ट इट टू द किंग. और जब किंग गार्ड्स आए उन्होंने उस फार्मर के बच्चे का हाथ काट दिया एज अ पनिशमेंट कि हाउ डिड यू नॉट टेल अस. और कोई घोड़ा आ गया था, आई डोंट नो, समथिंग लाइक दैट, कि किंग का कोई प्रॉपर्टी आ गया था तो उसने बच्चे का हाथ काट दिया. तो द होल विलेज वाज लाइक, ओ माय गॉड, यू आर सो अनलकी, यू आर सो अनलकी कि नाउ योर चाइल्ड डजंट हैव अ हैंड, कितना बड़ा तेरे साथ बुरा हो गया, रोना धोना व्हाटएवर. एंड द फार्मर सेड डजंट मैटर, अच्छे के लिए ही हुआ होगा. After a year, there was a war. All the young people got recruited, and all of them actually got killed by the other army. And this child, because he didn't have, I don't know, finger, maybe not a hand, because they just used to take perfect, obviously they would not take a one because they would not be able to fight properly. His son was saved. So everybody said, "Oh, you're so lucky, you're so lucky. Our children, they went and they have died. Your son is with you." है ना. मतलब हर चीज पे मैं रिएक्ट करता हूँ. मेरे को जो बड़ी बड़ी चीजें लगती हैं, देयर कुड बी नथिंग. दे से दैट द होल बर्थ, आवर होल बर्थ इज नॉट इवन अ चैप्टर इन द सोल्स जर्नी, इट्स वन पेज. और ये जो मेरी 60 70 80 साल की जिंदगी है, मेरी सोल की जर्नी में इट्स मे बी फॉर्म्स 1 पेज, पर उसमें मैं कितना अप डाउन अप डाउन अप डाउन अप डाउन, है ना, कि एज इफ सब कुछ डिपेंड करता है मेरी रिएक्शंस, एक्शंस और रिएक्शंस पे। तो हल्का सा अगर मैं थोड़ा स्टेप बैक होके उसको देख पाऊं, when I can understand the immensity of things, I will stop, I will have to stop acting so small. हर चीज को मैं फिर नहीं पकड़ पाऊंगा, चीजों को थोड़ा इजीली छोड़ पाऊंगा, बिकॉज मुझे पता है कि बहुत छोटी सी बातें हैं यार, मतलब दैट वुड थोड़ा शिफ्ट आ जाता है अप्रोच में, राइट, व्हिच टेक्स अस टुवर्ड्स मोर ईज, राइट।
इस like I'll just add one last point that इस सेशन में ना मैम मुझे लग रहा है कि I'm getting into this realization कि ना अब तक I'm portraying myself that I'm mother's child, but there is a very big part in me which is not really like believing mother as my real mother, like believing in her to an extent where जब मतलब जहाँ पे मैं सब कुछ दे दूं, जैसे बच्चा he hands all the safety everything to his mom, वैसे मैं नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं पोर्ट्रे कर रहा हूँ कि आई एम दैट, बट इन एक्चुअल ये बहुत मुश्किल है। क्योंकि मैम एक ही एग्जांपल दूंगा दैट 2015 आई वाज राइटिंग द एसएससी सीजीएल एग्जाम्स, और मैं पढ़ाई बहुत कम करता हूँ जनरली, लेकिन उस एग्जाम के लिए आई रियली वर्क हार्ड। और मेरे पापा हमेशा बोलते हैं कि यू शुड ओनली गिव द एफर्ट, डू नॉट एक्सपेक्ट द रिजल्ट। तो मैं अपने आप को यही बोला कि आई एम जस्ट पुटिंग द एफर्ट, एंड आई वाज हैप्पी दैट आई एम पुटिंग द एफर्ट। आई थॉट ओह दिस इज कॉल्ड रियल सरेंडर, ऐसे होता है रियल सरेंडर। और रिजल्ट्स आए एंड आई डिडंट गेट सिलेक्टेड। तो मैं डिप्रेस हो गया था एक हफ्ता। फिर मैं अपने आप को पूछ रहा था कि सरेंडर तो कर दिया तो डिप्रेशन क्यों आ रहा है, एंड आई लेफ्ट द क्वेश्चन देयर एंड नाउ आई एम गेटिंग द आंसर दैट आई वाज जस्ट एक्टिंग, मैं बस नाटक कर रहा था कि या वो मदर है, लेकिन मेरा जो विश्वास है वो रियल नहीं था। वो मतलब इट वाज इन द प्रोसेस, बट वो बिल्डअप नहीं हुआ था। सो या दिस इज क्वाइट द रियलाइजेशन।
या जगन, एक्चुअली ना मैं लिमिटेड हूं अभी, है ना, और मैं उतना ही देख पाऊंगा जितना मेरा सक्षम हूं, right? So it's not that you were manipulating or you were trying to pretend. At that time, that was all you could do, and you were able to do that, and you did it, right? जैसे आपने बोला एक हफ्ता डिप्रेस रहा, बट अंदर से एक आवाज आई कि ये क्या है ना, ये कैसा सरेंडर है, एंड देन यू आर आउट ऑफ डिप्रेशन, राइट। देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि उसके बाद लोग एथिस्ट बन जाए, नास्तिक बन जाए, अरे ऐसे भगवान पे मैं विश्वास नहीं करूंगा, राइट। बट फॉर यू इट टुक अ वीक टू कम बैक एंड से कि देयर समथिंग रॉन्ग इन मी, है ना। तो लेट्स नॉट गो देयर कि मैं कैसा प्रिटेंड कर रहा हूं, बट द ब्यूटी ऑफ इट कि अगर मुझे अब दिखना शुरू हो गया है कि देखो यहाँ आई लैक, देखो ये मेरी झूठ है, ये देखो ये मेरे पे ही भारी पड़ती है मेरी चालाकियां, तो तब चांस है कि मैं सही दिशा में थोड़ा सा आगे कर सकूं, राइट। अनलेस आई सी वेयर आई एम गोइंग रॉन्ग, हाउ विल आई करेक्ट माई सेल्फ ना। तो ये दिखना भी बहुत ही बड़ी बात है, इट्स नॉट अ स्मॉल थिंग, और ये खाली बोलने के लिए नहीं, आई एम सेइंग इट्स अ बिग थिंग टू सी। एंड रोज के रोज जब एक बार थोड़ी माइंडफुलनेस और थोड़ी सिंसेरिटी और ग्रेस आ जाती है, तो रोज के रोज ऐसे थप्पड़ पड़ते हैं कि ऐसे शर्म आती है खुद पे, एंड येट और कोई रास्ता है ही नहीं, शर्म आके भी वही सर झुकना है और बेशर्मी में भी वही सर झुकना है। सो Sri
Yeah,
Aurobindo says कि without sense of humor not much is possible. तो अपनी पे खुद हंसना भी बहुत जरूरी है। I'm sorry Sham, I didn't see you unmute. Please.
yeah, well, Taru, how Jagan was sharing about his exam experience. So how I had once shared with you that how I went for the UPSC interview twice and I couldn't get that job. And like it happens in all erudite families, वो कहते हैं ना कि IAS छोड़ के कोई दूसरा जॉब नहीं है and all that. Okay. फिर बाद में आज जब कई साल, मे बी 3 साल जब बीत गए हैं, जब मैं लास्ट टाइम सिविल सर्विस के इंटरव्यू में गया था, तो मुझे लगता है कि अच्छा हुआ कि मैं IAS IPS नहीं बना. अगर मैं बन भी जाता तो मेरी चमड़ी उतनी मोटी नहीं है कि मैं वो नेता ठेकेदार और गुंडा के का जो ट्रायोका है उसको मैं झेल पाता. ठीक है. और जब फैमिली में कोई एक होता है IAS और IRS, ओके, तो फिर वो प्रेशर भी पेरेंट्स बना देते हैं कि दैट यू नीड टू ट्रेड ऑन दैट पाथ. ओके. और तब वो चौड़ वो रुतबा देख के इट सीम्स वेरी alluring from outside. Okay, albeit it's not that alluring. Okay, that person only knows through what grind he is going on. तो फिर उस वक्त तो काफी दुख हुआ था, but later on I reconciled. And when the only time when I had a talk to you telephonically on the 11th of January, probably last year, and I said that I couldn't become an IAS, I couldn't go to Ivy League, and I'm frustrated, I'm loaded, I'm jaded. तो फिर आपने ही मुझे कहा था कि जमीन पे रह के बात किया करो बेटा. Okay, and that you had repeated it no less than 6 times. बट जब बीत जाने के बाद, समय बीत जाने के बाद, आई एम एबल टू लाफ एट माई ओन इडियोसिंक्रेसीज. कि अगर मैं IAS बन भी जाता तो क्या मैं वो रिगर, वो ग्राइंड को मैं झेल पाता क्या? और वो उतना प्रेशर कि रात को 12 बजे आपको उठ के कहीं जाना पड़ेगा and all that preparation and all that spending money on coaching and giving 24/7 to that preparation. And then और मैं इतना लिखता था, वो ऐसे राइटिंग इतना करता था कि वो मिडिल फिंगर पे फोड़े हो जाते थे. फिर अगला दिन मैं क्या करता था कि उन फोड़ों को फोड़ लेता था. ठीक है. और फिर रात को नींद नहीं आती थी, तो रात को नींद भगाने के लिए मैंने एक नायाब तरीका निकाला था. देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड मिसेलर वाटर. ओके, तो उसको मैं अपने चेहरे पे मल देता था. ठीक है. टू वार्ड ऑफ द स्लीप काइंड ऑफ थिंग. एंड देन ऑल दैट, इट वाज नॉट वर्थ इट. maybe I could have used my energy in a better manner. और जब मैं कई लोग जो लोग ब्यूरोक्रेसी में है, डिस्टेंट कजिन इफ UP कैडर IAS एंड फ्रेंड, डियर फ्रेंड, सीनियर फ्रेंड, ही इज छत्तीसगढ़ कैडर IPS. तो मैं जब उन लोगों का जिंदगी देखता हूँ तो मुझे लगता है कि अच्छा ही हुआ कि मैं IAS नहीं बना. मुझे ऐसी जिंदगी शायद चाहिए नहीं थी, या मैं इसमें एसिमिलेट नहीं कर पाता खुद को. So I'm able to laugh at my own idiosyncrasies. But उस वक्त वो बहुत बेइज्जती की बात थी कि और घर वाले लोग ने भी एक्सपेक्टेशन रखा था. But now I'm able to reconcile with and now when I discuss this with my चाचा जी, with my 2 sisters, they also say that नहीं, तुमसे नहीं हो पाता. तुम जाते वहां पे, पहला दूसरा दिन तुम लिटरेचर पढ़ देते, सब कोई तुमको गाली बकता और भगा देता. एंड सही में वही होता. अगर मैं बन भी जाता तो कोई कहता कि इधर का पैसा उधर करो एंड ऑल दैट थिंग. क्योंकि अंदर बहुत गंदगी है जो कि हम लोग इमेजिन नहीं कर सकते हैं. एट अ डिस्टेंस जो है ना, वो हम लोग इमेजिन नहीं कर सकते हैं. नाउ आई एम एबल टू रिकंसाइल टू ऑल दैट. And like you share that Gita maxim that whatever is happening, it is happening for the good. Whatever had happened, it too had happened for the good. And whatever will happen in the future, it too will happen for the good. Okay, so now I'm able to reconcile to that and I take things easily. So that dawning of wisdom happens after some passage of time. And like my English teacher used to say, that wisdom and grace comes with silver hairs and bald head. Although my hairs are not silvering, my head is not balding, but I do thank that some element of sanity has entered in my being. Sorry, I spoke a bit too much.
Sham, it was beautiful sharing. And the most important thing here, which you touched upon, is that usually in hindsight, we say, while it's happening, we say, no, it's paining, oh, too much, too much, too much. But in the end, we say, oh, okay, it was fine. I learned this from it. But although we say that जो होगा वो भी अच्छे के लिए होगा, we don't believe it.
Yeah.
So the only thing that if I am actually a good student, which I want to say I am, if I'm looking at the past and with 100% certainty I can see कि बहुत ही अच्छा हुआ, बच गया, कि नहीं हुआ, तो ये मुझे बोलना ही पड़ेगा कि आगे के लिए भी मेरे साथ सेम अप्लाई होगा, मतलब ये मुझे मानना पड़ेगा, और जब तक मैं नहीं मानूंगा दिस विल बी रिपीटेड. The same circumstances, the same situations, the same people, the same relations we keep getting with, behind different faces, because we don't learn our lesson. So lesson इसमें यही सिखा रही है यहाँ पे जिंदगी कि अरे अच्छा ही होगा, तू चल ना, आगे बढ़ ना, किस चीज का डर है. बट बिकॉज मुझे बहुत डर है, मैं वो भूल जाता हूँ. दैट अदरवाइज इफ आई वुड एक्चुअली बिलीव इन इट 100%, I would never get flustered, I would never fear, I would live like a king, I will give my best, I would not catch into इसने ये बोला, उसने ये बोला, है ना. बट I do, we all do. तो अगर हम सीख सके तो यही सीखें कि मैं अप्लाई तो करूँ ना इसको. पीछे की पजल तो मैंने सॉल्व कर दी, बट अगर मैं लर्निंग आगे नहीं अप्लाई कर पा रहा हूँ, तो फिर मैं आई एम नॉट अ गुड स्टूडेंट. आई हैव टू गो थ्रू इट अगेन, एंड आई विल बी taken through it again 100,000 times. Mother says you might fall. Brush up, get up, brush your clothes, look at him and say, fine, let me take another step. So let me learn the lesson. And that can be a beautiful prayer every day, right? May I learn what life is trying to teach me, what you are trying to teach me.
Yeah, fully in sync with you, Taru. And we will keep learning with each passing day, and each day beholds different scenes to us. And with each scene, we learn something. And we are here only to do our role playing, कि हम अपनी डायलॉग ठीक से बोले और कुछ बदमाशी करे तो पीछे जो प्ले में जैसे प्रॉम्प्टर्स होते हैं वो कहते हैं कि भाई भैया जरा दुरुस्त रास्ते पे चलो. So maybe Almighty, maybe Mother, they're all like prompters to us. They keep poking, they keep pinching. And if like a pistachio, if our nose grows bigger, they also have that guts and gusto to cut our nose short.
Yeah.
Sorry, कहीं मैं ज्यादा बात करने लगता हूँ.
नहीं, अच्छा ठीक कह रहे हो आप बिल्कुल. there's no sorry, that's why we are here, right? That's why we have this study circle, so that we can put across what we believe, and may it come into our life, what we believe, what we are saying, what we are thinking. May my life be a reflection of this. तब strength आती है, तब एक that's the way, say, a Surma or a Aryan would live. Okay, once learned, it comes into my life, my action.
But most of the time, we learn only when we look back. When we are in that situation, then we don't see that, okay, this is also for the good. But when it passes away, so maybe like Sham was sharing, so right now, wherever he is, maybe he's still struggling to be where he wants to be, or to prove that, yes, he has that intelligence and the capacity and capability to be at a higher place. But at this point, he is not able to actually manifest his actual true capability. But still, wherever he is right now at this time also, I think once he will look back, even that will be a great place.
Yeah, and it is all a learning thing. We all learn by falling only.
It doesn't have to be like that, Sham. That's what they say कि हर बारी गिर गिर के सीखने की जरूरत नहीं है. मतलब अगर ऐसे सीख रहे हैं, that is great, कि बहुत अच्छी बात है कि सीख तो रहे हैं, right? But I am capable of more. I don't have to fall every time to know that I am going wrong. धीरे धीरे जब अक्ल आनी शुरू हो जाती है, right? कि this will lead to this. Okay, this is happening to this. Then we have the capacity, the intelligence, the wisdom, the grace to correct, auto correct हो जाए. हर बारी bang होने की जरूरत नहीं है. But अगर मतलब मैं होना पड़ता है बिकॉज मेरे में अभी कैपेबिलिटी नहीं है, विच इज ओके, बट that is not my best possibility, but I am work in progress. So no.
WIP.
Mm. So I think we'll end here now. It's after like we have spent an hour. So basically, just to recap, this we started with looking at life and circumstances. We did power of attitude, and we have just taken the first paragraph. Why don't we just read it once what we had taken, so that because we had spoken a lot. So anybody who's willing, if they can read it before we wrap it up.
Yeah, I will read it. Is it really the best that always happens? It is clear that all that has happened had to happen, not be otherwise. By the universal determinism, it had to happen. But we can say so only after it has happened. For the problem of the very best that can happen is an individual, whether the individual be a nation or a single human being, and all depend on the personal attitude. If, in the presence of circumstances that are about to take place, you can take the highest attitude possible, that is, if you put your consciousness in contact with the highest consciousness within reach, you can be absolutely sure that in that case, it is the best that can happen to you. But as soon as you fall, sorry, as soon as you fall from this consciousness into a lower state, then it is evidently not the best that can happen. For the simple reason that you are not in your very best consciousness. I even go so far as to affirm that in the zone of immediate influence of each one, the right attitude not only has the power to turn every circumstance to advantage, but can change the very circumstance itself. For instance, when a man comes to kill you, if you remain in the ordinary consciousness and get frightened out of your wits, he will most probably succeed in doing what he came for. If you rise a little higher and thought full of fear, if you rise a little higher and though full of fear, call for the divine help, he may just miss you, doing you a slight injury. If, however, you have the right attitude and the full consciousness of the divine presence everywhere around you, he will not be able to lift even a finger against you.
Yeah, I hope that sheds a little bit more light, and we might have to, we will have to read it again. That how, the different levels that we're talking about. Just reminding us that I have shared this PDF, it's on the group. So if you do want to read it again, please do, and we'll take it up next time. So this was an excellent starting, I would say, with this chapter, that we got a lot of things a bit more sorted. We ventured into things that, which are usually just hidden under the carpet and we don't want to look at them. So this was excellent. I really enjoyed and I'm grateful for the discussion we have had today.
Ma'am, one question. In the beginning of the meeting, you play this tune, right? The Om Soham. Can you tell me the name of the tune?
I'll share it with you, the thing that.
Sure, sure. Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll end the session here. So just immense gratitude for the grace of such sangats and such sessions, who give, that give us an opportunity to get out of the everyday rut and see there's more to life, to see that even though I might be living very limited, immensity is my possibility. So praying for more and more grace, expansion, and eyes that can actually see what's there to see, and wishing everybody, wellness and happiness and peace. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank